Arsenal finished 5 points behind, and it's still 19 years since they last had their hands on the title. Could this be their year? Well, this game could have huge significance on that. And the good news for Arsenal, real blow that Bukayo Saka hasn't made it for them. But they make
There we go. I got that sorted. Sorry, I just hit a bit of technical issues just as we was going live. So I do apologise for that one. So what's going on, guys? JSGC here, and we are here for another live watch-along. Today we're going to be doing the live watch-along of Manchester City's game, taking on Arsenal away from home in what is, quite frankly, one of the biggest games in the footballing calendar in the Premier League for the season. It's Manchester City, current Premier League champions, 3 times consecutive Premier League champions, bidding this season to make history, to make it Premier League title number 4 in a row. Never been done before, taking on Arsenal, the team that drove us closest in the title race last season, with Manchester City coming out on top with a couple of games to spare. And what spurred Manchester City on last season, of course, was a couple of massive victories, including that against Arsenal away from home, followed up by a victory back in April at the Etihad Stadium, what's becoming a very exciting match in the footballing calendar. And today is no different. It's the first time Manchester City take on Arsenal for this season. So looking forward to it. I'm hoping Manchester City can go out there, put in a good performance and be able to win this game. Manchester City, of course, do not have Rodri today as he is suspended, which does create its own problems. So that was all the talking points as I was heading into this fixture. But let's not forget, Arsenal, they've also not got Bukayo Saka for this game as well. So before I do crack on with this live watch along, make sure, like always, if you are enjoying the content, do subscribe to my channel, press that red button, press the bell, and put your push notifications on. We're on that push to 32,000 subscribers. We're now less than 110 subscribers away, so any help towards that will be much appreciated. Also, don't forget social media links. You can go and find them in the description if you want to follow me on my Twitter, on my Instagram, and on my TikTok as well. Links to them, they are in the description. Also, don't forget email in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up as well. We're aiming for 100 likes once more. We're already into the 20s, which is fantastic, on 24 likes. So we're just 76 away. So any help towards that would be great. Also, don't forget as well, and most importantly, do let me know your thoughts in the live chat, including your score prediction for this game. And also don't forget as well to let me know where you are tuning in from around the world. So just heading to the chat, we've got Johnson Jojo tuning in, much appreciated. Thanks for all the comments in the build-up on the intro there as well. That is much appreciated. We've got Verico as well tuning in, so thank you very much for that. Much appreciated. Aronesia, I hope I've said that correctly. Thank you very much for tuning in. Much appreciated. We've also got Mwamroa tuning in, so much appreciated. Hello to you as well. And we've got Daniel Knight 14 tuning in as well. Hello, Daniel. Do hope you are well. So as I said, do let me know your score prediction in the live chat, and do let me know where you are tuning in from around the world as well. So we're going to have a look at the teams. I'm going to share my screen so we can have a discussion about the Arsenal team and the Manchester City team. Before we do that, I just very quickly want to speak about the form of the two teams heading into this one. Arsenal, of course, not lost a single game in the Premier League so far this season. However, did lose their first game of the season in midweek in the Champions League against Lens away from home in France. Manchester City, we'd lost a couple of games last week. We lost against Newcastle United away from home in the League Cup third round. We lost against Wolverhampton Wanderers last weekend in the Premier League away from home by 2-1. We did follow that up with a victory midweek against RB Leipzig. Sorry, I didn't do a live watch along for you guys to enjoy, and a match review, match reaction, and match analysis. I did a little YouTube shorts instead. I did, however, do a match vlog of that game as I was in Germany, and it was absolutely fantastic. So do go check that out on my channel when you do have time. But yeah, we're back here with the regular content, ready for this game against Arsenal. City followed up a couple of defeats with a victory. We responded. Interesting to see how Arsenal respond here against Manchester City as well. Daniel going for a 2-2 draw. Very interesting there, as that is my score prediction for today as well. Daniel saying, hoping City are going to hammer Arsenal. Saka is out for them. And Araneza wanting your predictions. So do let me know them in the live chat. Araneza going for a 7-1 victory today for Manchester City. I'd love a 7-1 victory. Not sure we're going to get a 7-1 victory, but if we do, then we're in for a very entertaining and very enjoyable Sunday afternoon. So let's go and have a look at them teams then, shall we? So let's just get them up. So we're going to start with our opponents first. Arsenal, starting with David Raya in goal. Aaron Ramsdale just seems to be falling down the pecking order. He now seems to be playing second fiddle to David Raya, of course. Brentford's goalkeeper last season brought into Arsenal in the summer, and Aaron Ramsdale drops to the bench, and that's all to do with distribution. I think Mikel Arteta recognises the importance of having a goalkeeper who's good with his distribution, and that's why Raya has been brought in to provide competitive competition for Ramsdale. Ramsdale's a good shot stopper, he's a good goalkeeper in my opinion, but David Raya seems to have taken over the reins as the Arsenal number one as of right now. Now, looking at this defence, it looks like it's going to be a 4 at the back for Arsenal, with no surprise, Ben White starts, and I spoke about that in my preview, and Oleksandr Zinchenko, former Manchester City man, starting as their left back. You've got Saliba and Gabriel as the 2 centre backs. No real surprise from that defence, if I'm honest. I think that defence can be got at too if Manchester City do click, and we are on it. Again, it's a Premier League game. We know what we need to do. We need to be clinical in front of goal. This game's going to be decided in phases, and as always, one of the most important factors is who scores first. If we can get that all-important first goal, I'm confident Man City can go on and win this game. Now, looking in at the midfield, I reckon it's going to be this man, Jorginho, starting as the defensive midfielder. More freedom is going to be given to former West Ham man and Arsenal's biggest signing of the summer, Declan Rice, brought in for over £100 million from West Ham, and danger man and captain Martin Odegaard starting at the top end of that midfield 3. He's a creative player. Fred's lovely passes. He puts lovely balls into the box as well. He's a very good player. Keep him quiet, and I'm confident we can keep the supply to the Arsenal attackers at bay, and that may just be a good outlet here for Manchester City. But there's some problems, because I imagine Man City will have been preparing for both Bukayo Saka to be starting in this game and for him not to be starting. And with that in mind, it was always going to be this man here, Leandro Trossard, starting in this game. Gabriel Jesus was going to wonder if he's going to be the striker, who's going to be the winger. Looks like he's going to go on the right wing, Gabriel Jesus, and Leandro Trossard on the left wing, and it's going to be Eddie and Nketiah starting up top. I reckon if Bukayo Saka was fit, it would be Saka on the right-hand side, Leandro Trossard on the left-hand side, and Gabriel Jesus starting up top. So it very much looks like, for in terms of the attacking front three, Saka out, Nketiah in, and Nketiah goes up front, and Gabriel Jesus will go out wide. So big losses there for Arsenal, missing Gabriel Martinelli and also missing Bukayo Saka as well. So Arsenal nowhere near here at their full strength, in my completely honest opinion. Now, moving on to the bench, you've got Aaron Ramsdale. Thomas Partey could have been a shout to be starting in this game. He doesn't. Emile Smith-Rowe, Gabriel Martinelli, as I said, only just coming back from injury, makes the bench instead of the starting 11. Could be used as an impact. I'm questioning about how fit he is. Doesn't get given the nod here, but is on the bench. But it is a bit of a boost to have him on the bench, I'm sure, for Arsenal. There, it's better to have the player available in the squad than to not have them at all, which, as you can see, Bukayo Saka not on the bench, so he isn't available at all in this game. They've got Kiwior as well on the bench, Tomiyasu, Vieira, Nelson, and Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz, I thought, may have been starting in this game, or may not have been starting. They've chosen to go with Jorginho ahead of Kai Havertz instead. Now, moving on to your Manchester City starting 11 for today. Manchester City starting with Ederson in goal. It looks like a back 4 for Manchester City. Kyle Walker on the right-hand side, and one of Josko Gvardiol and Nathan Ake. I presume it's going to be Josko Gvardiol going at left back for City, with Ruben Dias and Nathan Ake going as a Manchester City centre backs. And if we do want to invert and go with a midfield 4 and a back 3 for Manchester City, I have a feeling it's going to be this man here, Ruben Dias, pushing further into midfield, which is a role we've come to associate on the bench here with this man, Manuel Akanji, and I am surprised that he isn't starting in that game. That's a position we've seen him play a lot of this season due to the injury to this man, John Stones, who does make the squad today for Manchester City, and it does mean he is going to be available for international duty for England. He has been selected by Gareth Southgate, so hopefully, fingers crossed, doesn't feature that much and doesn't pick up an injury, as that'll be a big blow coming back after the international break. Manchester City's midfield then, made up, I'm going to presume that this is Mateo Kovacic starting in defensive midfield, and Rico Lewis is going to be going alongside him and maybe giving a little bit more freedom for Manchester City in midfield if Kovacic is going to swing back. And we may want to move Bernardo Silva into midfield as well. If we do choose to do that, though, we are going to be needing more of an overlap from this man, Kyle Walker. So it all depends on phases and all depends on how Manchester City are playing and if we're in control of the possession and where on the pitch it is and are we defending and what's happening. There's lots of very technical ways of play under Pep Guardiola. Always keeps not just us fans and the players guessing, but also the opposition as well, which is why it's so effective for Manchester City. If it's looking like the standard back four, then I'm going to presume it's Kovacic, Lewis, and Julian Alvarez with Bernardo Silva right wing, Phil Foden left wing, and Erling Haaland starting up top there for Manchester City. Great to see Julian Alvarez. He deserves his start to be playing here. I also think it's great to see Rico Lewis. He put in a man of the match performance for me in midweek for City, and I'm happy he's been rewarded for that to start in this massive game here for Manchester City. And I'll tell you right now, Arsenal will be looking at that and they'll be thinking, Rico Lewis starting, rubbing the hands, getting excited, thinking, you know what, that can be got at. Well, Rico Lewis is a high quality player. I trust him, and I'm happy to see him in that starting 11. I think the big call here for Manchester City, and I was speaking in my preview about Foden, Doku, or Bernardo Silva, two of them three starting this game, someone misses out. I thought Doku may have been given a reward for him playing so well when he came off the bench against RB Leipzig to start here, but Man City may be looking for him to make an impact, tire the Arsenal legs out, get it to the hour mark, get it to 70 minutes, and give him 20 or 30 minutes at some tired Arsenal defenders. His pace, it's electrifying, it can cause a lot of problems, and he's perfect for an impact sub. So Doku isn't given a start here. I would like to have seen him start. He isn't. We move on. Also on the bench for Manchester City today, we've got Kalvin Phillips, John Stones, Jack Grealish, Jeremy Doku, Stefan Ortega-Moreno, Sergio Gomez, Manuel Akanji, Matheus Nunes, and Oscar Bobb. Nice to see a full bench named by Manchester City, and nice to see that there's only one goalkeeper on the bench as well, rather than two to make up the numbers there. So we do have players coming back, which is great to see. We will have Rodri back after the international break as well. He's currently taking an extended break before he heads out on international duty with Spain as well. And so, yeah, that should be Man City's squad complete, and hopefully we can get all players back after the international duty as well, injury free, and that will put us in a good position then heading throughout the rest of October and into November in what is another very tricky period for Manchester City. So, as I said, do let me know your thoughts in the live chat, including your score prediction. I think I'm feeling confident. I'm thinking either Manchester City sneak this and we win 1-0. That's what my heart's telling me. My head's telling me I think this may be a very attacking, entertaining game with two teams wanting to display what they can do, which means there'll be goals. And I reckon maybe a 2-2 here for this game, which is what Daniel went for before going for 2-2. Daniel asks, why is Haaland not scoring? He's not scoring because he's got two or three defenders around him. It creates space for the other players. It's why you're seeing the very best out of Julian Alvarez. Your defenders are being drawn to Erling Haaland because if you give him space, he will score. We've got other players out there who are very good as well, which Haaland, dragging the attention of the defenders, is creating space for the other players to go out there and score goals. Why Doku's got off to a great start at Manchester City. It's why Julian Alvarez is scoring them goals. It's what Erling Haaland's bringing to the team. And eventually, teams will start to realise how dangerous the likes of Doku and Foden, Bernardo Silva and Julian Alvarez are, that they will punish you. And then they'll start to have defenders hang tight to them, and that will create more space for Erling Haaland. And Erling Haaland, let's face it, is the best striker in the world. You give him space, he'll score them goals. If Arsenal allow Erling Haaland 2 or 3 touches inside that 6-yard box, he's coming out with 2 or 3 goals. And that is dangerous for any team to do. They're not going to allow it. So they hold deep to him. They hug tight. It's very difficult for Erling Haaland. Very difficult indeed. But as time goes on, as the other players start to score the goals, teams aren't going to start thinking to themselves, you know what, we're going to hug tight to Erling Haaland, stop him scoring, but that means Julian Alvarez is going to score instead. no use. Man City still come out with the goals and more than likely come out with the wins as well. So it's all about what they're bringing to the team. Manchester City needs to get a little bit more supply to Erling Haaland. It's great with defenders hanging tight to him and him not getting much space, but let's not forget Erling Haaland is just as big, just as powerful, just as good in the air as any of these centre-backs in the Premier League. And if Man City can get a good ball into the box, the strong possibility is Erling Haaland puts it into the back of the net, and that's what Manchester City need to do. Daniel says he doesn't reckon that Havertz is good enough for Arsenal, reckons he's going to flop there after moving in the summer from Chelsea. Interesting shout. Why do you think that one, Daniel? Do let me know. MCFR, thanks for tuning in. Going for a 3-0 victory today for Manchester City. I'll be very happy with a 3-0 victory for City. Matty as well, thanks for tuning in. Going for a 3-1 victory for the Citizens today, which would be great. The Geezer dances. If City can avoid defeat here and then beat Brighton at home in a few weeks, then that will be great. Let's not forget, Brighton are a very good team. There seems to be a bit of consistency. They seem that when they're not on it and they lose by a lot. Today they face Liverpool at home, more than a match for Liverpool, coming out with points as well, which does us a favour in a potential title race. So I think you're spot on there, Geezer Dan. A couple of very interesting games, a difficult game here just before the international break, and then a very difficult game when we come back straight after the international break. And it blows my mind that Manchester City Brighton, a very good, very entertaining game with two high quality managers who play possession-based attacking football, hasn't been selected for broadcast here in the UK and is in the blackout. It blows my mind. It absolutely does blow my mind. Matty says, any news on the John Stones update? The only updates I've got is what Pep Guardiola has said, so I'm just using his information. The fact is, he's been called up to international. He's been called up to the international duty by England, by Gareth Southgate, so he's available for selection to feature for England, which is where he picked up his injury just before the last international break. And so John Stones has been selected for that. And John Stones in the squad today for Manchester City, nearing coming back. And I reckon he's maybe 1 or 2 full weeks away from a full recovery and being available for selection in the starting 11 rather than making the bench. It'd be good to get John Stones a few minutes here as well, just to see how he's responding and see how over the injuries he is. But Pep Guardiola says he's not in control. He's in the squad. He's getting there. He's not 100% as of yet. But Manchester City aren't going to say he's not available for international selection. So he's free to go to England after the end of this game. So hopefully, as I said, he won't feature in the friendly for England next week against Australia, and hopefully won't be needed in the match against Italy. But looking at how weak England's defence is, I think John Stones is probably going to be starting both them games. And I'll be very annoyed if he starts that Australia friendly. It's a friendly, doesn't need to be starting that. Give him an extra week of recovery. He could be good to go in 10 days' time against Italy. You never know. Julia, thanks very much for tuning in. Much appreciated. Good day to you and good day to everybody else as well. Daniel, I think we can all agree with that international break. It's so boring after this weekend. No Premier League football, no Manchester City next weekend. You've got international football. As I always say, it is, if you're based in the UK anyway, we have something called non-league day, and it seems to fall on every Saturday that is during the international break. So if you're in a position you're missing Manchester City and you are based in the UK, get yourself down to your local non-league club, show some support to the football pyramid. We're passionate about Manchester City, but we're all passionate football fans as well. And it's a brilliant experience. It's real cheap. It's a really good experience. It's a good do. So that's something I tend to do a lot of during the international break. But JSGC recovering himself right now from a little foot injury. And also my bank balance recovering right now means I'm not in a position to do that. So I am, like most other people, in for a very boring weekend next weekend, which part of me quite happy with that, as I am needing a little bit of a break. So 4:24 p.m. BST means we are now less than 6 minutes away from kickoff here between Arsenal and Manchester City. Don't forget, if you are enjoying the content, please do leave a thumbs up. That would be much appreciated. We are aiming for 100 likes. We're now less than 72 likes away from that goal. So any help towards that would be much appreciated. Also, don't forget as well to subscribe if you are new around here. Press that red button, press the bell, and put your push notifications on. And also, don't forget as well to let me know your thoughts in the live chat as well, including your score prediction for this game. And also, do remember to let me know where you are tuning in from around the world as well. Daniel says he doesn't like the international break, as some of the players may get injured, like John Stones. I feel that. I really do feel that one. Matty says, my local non-league team is Avro FC, lives just round the corner from it. And fun fact for you guys, at the, was it last? No, it wasn't. It was Bank Holiday Monday in August. I was at Avro Football Club. A good experience. Matty, have you been to Avro FC before? If not, get yourself down there. It's a good experience to do some very tasty food. They've just introduced new food onto their menu as well that you can go and check out. But yeah, as I said, it's all good fun. I like it. I think it's brilliant. It shows support for the local community, for your local football club, and for the English structure and English pyramid that we've got here. The most solid football pyramid in the world, in my opinion. Now, JSGC, Sunday, back to work for me tomorrow, so just on a Coca-Cola today. Nothing extravagant that we've come to expect, unfortunately, but, needs must, as they say. Raquel, thanks so much for tuning in. Much appreciated. Going for a 4-0 victory, I presume, for Manchester City as well. Matty says he's been to Avro a couple of... I like that. He's been a few times. It's decent. It is decent. They play at, I think, Oldham Rugby League Club's ground. So it's a smart stadium, pretty smart stadium with a nice clubhouse. Nice and hydrated. Been pretty warm in the UK over the last few days, which isn't very October-like. I'm not complaining, though. As long as the rain stays away, I'm pretty happy. Rightio, it's nearly ready for kickoff here. The players in the tunnel, ready to make their way out for this game. Looking forward to it. It should be a good game of football, this one. I'm going for 2-2. I think Julian Alvarez scores first for Manchester City. I reckon Leandro Trossard equalises for Arsenal. I think Arsenal take the lead, and I'm going to go for Eddie Nketiah. I think Man City in the second half equalise, and I am going to go for... I don't know why, but I'm fancying an outsider like a Kyle Walker goal. He's not scored in ages, or a Nathan Ake header or something. I'm going to put my neck on the line. Let's go for a Kyle Walker goal. Why not? Right, I'm going to get my build the bet in very quickly. Going to get my build a bet in. What do we reckon then for this game? Also surprises me that Arsenal and Tottenham aren't allowed to play on the same day due to police in North London yet. They've got the NFL on today at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I think it's half-time between the Buffalo Bills and the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's taking place. It's like 8 miles away from where the Emirates Stadium is, with Arsenal playing Manchester City in a massive Premier League match. Strange how it works. Right, so Arsenal, Manchester City, we're going to go for a build a bet. I'm not going to include a result on this one. I reckon Julian Alvarez scores any time, so I'm putting that in. That's at 3-1. Players to be carded. That's a good one. That's a really interesting one. Do I touch players to be carded? I mean, Ruben Dias would be probably an obvious choice for Manchester City. I think I'm going to stay clear of that one, but I am going to go towards yellow. I'm going to go both teams to score, and I'm going to go yellow cards. A home player shot on target. Let's go for an away player shot on target. Erling Haaland shot on target, and I'm going to go for total overbooking points, and I'm going to go for over, what do we reckon, 30. Nice save bet. There we go, 13-2. So Julian Alvarez to score, Haaland with a shot on target, both teams to score, and over 30 booking points. So that's 3 yellow cards, and we're going to place a bet on that. That's today's build a bet for me. I'm getting it in just in time. My bet mate's all sorted. These are the things I've got to think about when doing these live watch-alongs. Get everything sorted whilst we're there. Right, the bet's in. Done. Dusted. It is in. The Geezer Dan says, Walker, I am sure will love to score against Arsenal because of his Tottenham days. Of course he would. Of course he would. It's an outsider. It's an outsider. But if I have to throw an outsider out there, Walker would be the one. I mean, Josko Gvardiol likes a shot and likes a goal. We've not seen it yet in a City shirt, but I know from his days at Leipzig, he likes to do that. Mixed, hello. Thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated. Helping to moderate today's chat. So do remember, we don't have many rules here on the JSGC channel, but we do have a couple, including please keep things clean. You never know who's watching, so please just keep things nice and clean, nice and friendly. That'd be much appreciated. And no spoiling it for others, and that's pretty much it. Make sure you have a good time. Arsenal getting themselves a nice little speech in. Gabriel Jesus. I'm surprised Oleksandr Zinchenko isn't getting his piping in and getting his thoughts in. I know he's been getting involved in the politics of the world in the last 24 hours. That's caused a lot of upset. I'm not going to dip in and comment on that because, quite frankly, politics doesn't have any place in sport and never leads to anything positive, in my opinion. So we just stay clear of that one. North London Forever, I think, is the song. Is that what it's called? I think that's the name of the song anyway. You know what I'm on about. That's ringing out around the Emirates Stadium right now as we're nearly ready and set for kickoff. Yeah, it's the Master taking on the apprentice, Mikel Arteta. The apprentice taking on his former manager in Pep Guardiola, of course. Pep Guardiola, manager of Manchester City, and Mikel Arteta, former Manchester City assistant manager under Pep Guardiola. As we're now 70 likes away from 100 likes. So any help towards that would be great. Do subscribe as well if you are new around here. Social media links in the description if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And please do leave your thoughts in the live chat, including your score prediction for this game and where you're tuning in from. So Manchester City are going to get us underway playing in our home shirts, sky blue shirts, white shorts, and sky blue socks. City attacking from right to left, and it's Mateo Kovacic that gets us underway for this game and just gives the ball to Ederson, who's going to launch this long FA Cup style, looking for the head of Erling Haaland, and beats everybody, and that'll go out of play for the first goal kick of the game to Arsenal. Arsenal attacking from left to right, playing in their home shirts of red shirts with white sleeves, white shorts, and white socks. Sorry, I've just injured my foot, and every now and then it just keeps bleeding. So if you just see me looking away and or dabbling down, I'm just trying to stop some of the bleeding is what I'm doing. Medical stuff whilst live on air. Very sore that. Anyway, Ederson then launches it long for Manchester City towards the head of Erling Haaland, dealt with well by Saliba. Covered really well by Mateo Kovacic, and Josko Gvardiol gives it to Rico Lewis, and Man City can think about launching their first attack of this game. Here is Kyle Walker gives it to Bernardo Silva over a minute in here at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal 0, Manchester City 0. I feel like I'm so far away. Let me just bring the camera a little bit closer. There we go. It's a bit better. I don't feel as far away from you guys now. Here's Nathan Ake. Gives it to Bernardo Silva. So it's Bernardo Silva that's gone into defensive midfield. Kovacic supporting along with Rico Lewis. Julian Alvarez has gone more to that right-hand side with Phil Foden playing behind the striker and Kyle Walker doing them overlaps, which is what we're speaking about. Man City want a free kick and get one. Nathan Ake is the player fouled by Gabriel Jesus, former Man City man. Here is Ruben Dias then for Manchester City. Gives it to Ederson. Ederson playing in his fluorescent yellow kit. All fluorescent it is. Shirts, shorts, and socks. Gvardiol gives it to Phil Foden. Looks slightly behind Kovacic. Finds a pass back to Foden, though. Arsenal don't read that, and City can come away with the ball. Here is Kyle Walker then. Into Arsenal's half. Gives the ball to Rico Lewis. Here's Bernardo Silva now. Looks for options. He's got Kyle Walker on the right-hand side if City want to use him, and Rico Lewis chooses to use him. Walker goes first time back to Ruben Dias. Bernardo Silva now gives it back to Ruben Dias. Work through the middle. Julian Alvarez tries to get a little flick on, but Gabriel reads it well, and Arsenal can make the interception. Andy, thanks very much for tuning in. Much appreciated. Andy and Alison tuning in from York on a quick break in Easingwold again. Love it. Hope you're having a great time out there. So supporting Manchester City today, as well as Gvardiol pushes Manchester City forward, and Arsenal managed to intercept that one. And a poor pass comes in, I think it was from Declan Rice towards Oleksandr Zinchenko, and it just goes out of play for a throw into Manchester City, just next to Arsenal's penalty area. So Arsenal haven't really settled in. City try and get a throw in towards Erling Haaland. It's a poor touchy game from Zinchenko, and that'll go out of play for the first corner of the game to Manchester City. 3.5 minutes in here at the Emirates Stadium. It's Arsenal 0, Manchester City 0. A chance here for City to create their first chance of this game. Thank you very much, Mixin. Much appreciated. If you haven't gone and checked out our Ipswich away video on the JSGC football channel, links in the description, then do go check it out. And the first real chance, Gvardiol gets his foot onto it. Raya over commits. Flicked on, Ake, surely no, over the top of the crossbar. Nathan Ake has his hands on his head. He can't believe it. Corner came in, not dealt with by Arsenal. Gvardiol gets his shot away, headed off the line by Declan Rice. Gabriel Jesus couldn't get it clear. It was headed back towards Haaland. He gets the flick on, and Nathan Ake should be scoring. Nathan Ake should have scored there. It doesn't make a clean connection and just blazes it over the top of the crossbar. Arsenal now can get forward for the first time. Not the greatest of passes, but they do get themselves a throw-in. Mixin says City need to have a go. Having a pop here 5 minutes in. A couple of chances created, a couple of chances. One falling to Gvardiol, one falling to Nathan Ake. Neither converted, and it remains 0-0 here. Arsenal with the ball inside the Manchester City half. We've got a throw-in midway inside the City half. So set pieces causing Arsenal some problems there. Ben White it is with the throw-in. Not a very good throw-in. Intercepted well by Josko Gvardiol. And Arsenal through Jorginho manages to get a little foot onto that one. That'll go to Ederson in goal. Manchester City not attacking the away end here for the first half. So they'll be doing that in the second half. Matty says, are you going to the young boys game in the Champions League at home? I will not be there. I've not got any football planned now until the end of November. The Geezer Dan says, hope we don't regret that miss in 90 minutes time. I agree. I certainly do agree. This game's all about being clinical and getting them opportunities. And so early in the game, it needs to be clinical. You need to be clinical. You get these chances, they need to be put away. We haven't put that chance away. We need to pick ourselves up, dust ourselves down, and go again. Put the next one away. Kyle Walker then with a throw in here for Manchester City, just throws it all the way back to Ederson. Ederson gives it to Nathan Ake now. Back to Eddie. Bernardo Silva works the pass to Nathan Ake. Gvardiol. Arsenal putting the squeeze onto Manchester City. And City, that should have been a City throw-in. Referee says no, Arsenal throw there. Looked like it took a deflection from Kovacic trying to get it forward. So Arsenal will consider that one a successful pressing of Manchester City. Ben White throws it backwards. And here's Declan Rice with the ball. Gives it to Saliba. Works it to Gabriel. And Arsenal just working it backwards at the moment. City win that ball back through Julian Alvarez. Here's Kyle Walker. Gives it to Ruben Dias. He goes back to Ederson. There's a lot of going backwards here. A lot of it at the mo. Ake gives it to Josko Gvardiol. He can turn. That's great work from Gabriel Jesus there. I think Gvardiol needs to be a bit stronger. Nathan Ake puts it into the channel. Haaland looking to cause Saliba problems. Saliba slips and Saliba recovers really well. And Arsenal can come away with the ball. The crowd show their appreciation there. Haaland causing all kinds of problems there for Saliba. Holds really firm, holds well, and gets the ball back for Arsenal. Good defending. A good ball forward that from Nathan Ake, asking the question for Manchester City as well. Here's Saliba now. Gives the ball to Declan Rice. Saliba to Gabriel. Gabriel works it into midfield. A lovely turn there from Leandro Trossard. First time I've seen him touch the ball, with a fantastic ball to the right-hand side for Jesus. He's up against Josko Gvardiol. Jesus goes to the byline. Good defending from Gvardiol, and that will go out for the first corner for Arsenal for this game. And one corner apiece for both sides. Manchester City caused some real problems from their first corner, of course. What can Arsenal do? It's Martin Odegaard, captain for Arsenal today, going over to take this one. Ruben Dias barking instructions to the Manchester City defence. Haaland's back. Rico Lewis is back. Got the City centre-backs in there as well. Odegaard then to swing a ball in. Whipped in. Header not cleanly won by Arsenal, and Phil Foden can put his foot through that and get it half cleared. Manchester City looking for the counter-attack or thinking of the counter-attack, and they can't get control of the football. And so Jorginho can pick that one up for Arsenal just inside the Manchester City half. Gives it to Saliba once more. Saliba's seeing a lot of the ball. That's a lovely ball into the channel here. Ben White looking to try and get a ball across. Gets it past Gvardiol. Opens nicely up for Odegaard. There are fans encouraging Arsenal to shoot, but they're happy to work this sideways instead. Oleksandr Zinchenko with the ball. Gives it to Declan Rice. Again, looking for the channel and finds Ben White really well, and the offside flag is up. Arsenal fans not happy with that. Manchester City can regroup. It's just offside. Good decision that from the linesman. With all the controversies you've had surrounding officiating this week, the officials will be looking to try and stay clear of any controversy, I'm sure, in particular with such a big game here. The world's watching, literally. Gvardiol gives it to Ake. That's a lovely pass to Phil Foden. Takes control of that. He's got Jorginho for company, and Jorginho just brings Phil Foden down. That should be the first yellow card of the game. And there's 10 of my booking points. I said over 30 plus booking points here. So there's the first one, and Jorginho into the book for Arsenal for the foul of on Phil Foden. The cynical foul, just bringing him down, pulling him down to stop the Manchester City attack. Michael Oliver shows no hesitation in giving the yellow card. Just keep it up to date with the NFL London match taking place between the Buffalo Bills and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Currently 11-7 at this moment in time. Keep an eye on that one. Raheem, thanks for tuning in. It says 2-0 City, Haaland brace. Aaron very happy with his trip to Prague and Leipzig. It was an excellent trip. Good company as well. Trip of a lifetime is what we called it. Made a fantastic video. We had a great time. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. One off the bucket list. Here is Oleksandr Zinchenko. Gives the ball to Gabriel. Has to go back to Raya in goal. 12 minutes in here, 0-0. David Raya then. He's going to launch this one. Sends it long. Straight down the pitch. Straight to nobody. Goes to Manchester City goalkeeper Ederson, who will just pass it back out to Ruben Dias, and City will look to build another attack. We have already had some full-time results from today in the Premier League. Earlier on, it finished Brighton and Hove Albion 2, Manchester City 2, which means Manchester City remain over Liverpool, I think. We do. And we're currently over Arsenal as it stands with this result, but we are 1 point behind Spurs. So unless City win this game, we aren't going top today. And hopefully we will win this game and will remain top. Also saw West Ham draw 2-2 with Newcastle United at the London Stadium, and Aston Villa draw 1-1 away from home against Wolverhampton Wanderers. And of course, 0-0 here between Arsenal and Manchester City. Is it possible that all matches on Sunday, 4 Premier League matches, all finish level? Could well happen. Here is Saliba then for Arsenal. He's got the option of Raya and also Gabriel to his left-hand side. Uses the first option with David Raya, and Jorginho putting David Raya under a lot of pressure there with a needless pass back to him. And Arsenal managed to clear their lines there under the pressing of Manchester City. And eventually the second loose ball falls to Manchester City and City can have some possession. Now here is Nathan Ake. He's got Ruben Dias to his right. He uses Kovacic on the left. Here's Bernardo Silva now. There's a run of Phil Foden not used by Bernardo. Gives it to Mateo Kovacic instead. City just knocking the ball around here. Looking for that chance. Looking for that attack. Looking for that opportunity. Already missed a good opportunity for a combination of Josko Gvardiol cleared off the line by Declan Rice and, of course, Nathan Ake in the follow-up to Arsenal failing to clear their lines from that attack. Should have put Manchester City ahead. Ball comes in from City. Not a very good ball. Phil Foden, I don't think was too happy with that ball in. And Arsenal can defend that one with ease from goalkeeper David Raya and can look to build Arsenal their own attack. And Josko Gvardiol just stops the supply to Gabriel Jesus. So we're nearly through the first phase of the game, the first 15 minutes. Arsenal just having a bit of the ball, knocking it round. Ben White, Odegaard, Saliba. Declan Rice drops into the hole, receives the ball. Manchester City interested in signing Declan Rice in the summer, didn't materialise. And that's poorly given away by Arsenal, and Nathan Ake can have the ball. Here's Ruben Dias. Gives the ball to Julian Alvarez. Ruben Dias once more. It's got Nathan Ake. He chooses Alvarez through the middle, the more difficult pass. And City once more just happy to knock it around. City, of course, without Rodri, suspended today. Here's Bernardo Silva. Gives the ball to Ruben Dias. Rico Lewis now. Not really seen too much of Rico Lewis first 16 minutes here. Bernardo Silva now gives it to Ruben Dias and Man City come forward. Julian Alvarez. It's a heavy touch. Should have been intercepted by Arsenal. They made a fluff of their lines here and Walker has a chance to put a ball into the box and straight at David Raya and we'll be very happy with that. And Arsenal can think about coming forward for themselves. A couple of slips there from Arsenal. Unpunished. And this very much feels like a game where two teams are just really trying to suss each other out. Raya then gives it to Gabriel. It's nearly too much on that. There's a press here somewhere if City want it. Have a good watch of the Brighton-Liverpool game before and the amount of pressing going on. And David Raya just goes to put his foot through it and clear the ball. And Julian Alvarez closes David Raya down and he just boots the ball against Julian Alvarez for the block. And that's so close to going in his own goal. So close. David Raya is a lucky man. His heart must have been well and truly in his mouth then. Gets away with that one, David Raya. Really does get away with that one. Put under pressure Ramsdale on the bench and brought in for his distribution. Yet it's his distribution that nearly allowed Manchester City the most simple of goals. Seamus, thanks for tuning in. Makes a really good point. It's only a matter of time before City get that goal here. Arsenal are nervous in the way that they're playing. They've not settled. I don't know whether they've just done a fitness test for Bukayo Saka and was hoping for it to come back, that it'd be cleared to play, and he hasn't, that they've just had to readjust because it looks a little disjointed from Arsenal, and at the back, the distribution just looks a little shaky. I can't really work out why. Heavy touch again. Saliba was showing too much of that to Erling Haaland. He finds the clearance, and Jesus hold-up play. He's doing really well, but surrounded out by Bernardo Silva. There's good play from City. Good work from Gvardiol. Space opens up here for Ruben Dias. And just chips the ball out of play for a goal kick. Not great from Ruben Dias. Did all the hard work there from Manchester City. It's safe to say that creative play isn't Ruben Dias's forte. Stick to defending, Ruben. Goal kick then taken here by Gabriel. Gives it to David Raya, and I don't know what that's achieved. David Raya just taking his time. Arsenal fans getting a little frustrated. Because let's not forget, they're the home team here. They're the one that wants to put out a statement to Manchester City. Manchester City are the team without Kevin De Bruyne and Rodri. Up to Arsenal to do something about that and go on and beat us. City have a good record against Arsenal. They're the one that need to force the issue, and that's a good ball forward and nearly found Phil Foden. That's a good tackle from Manchester City once more. Odegaard dispossessed. Gvardiol can't find a pass to Rico Lewis, and not the greatest of passes from Odegaard. He was looking for Eddie Nketiah. Has Eddie Nketiah even touched the ball yet? And Manchester City can just pick that one off and can just look to build from the back. Here is Mateo Kovacic now. Gives it to Ederson. Here's Nathan Ake. 21 minutes in here at the Emirates. 0-0. Manchester City have been the better team as far as I'm concerned. I like Phil Foden in this midfield. He looks motivated. The motivated Phil Foden in central midfield is a really good player. I find it really interesting in the build-up to this game. Pep Guardiola was asked about Phil Foden and playing in central midfield, and he said Phil Foden still has a long way to go to improve before he can class himself as a world-class central midfielder. He says he doesn't hold the skill sets as of yet from a defensive and team point of view in midfield for him to be classed as world-class as of right now, which I found really interesting. It's crystal clear to me that I think Man City's plan is over this season is to phase Phil Foden into midfield, because I think you're looking at Phil Foden and he's going to become Manchester City's Bernardo Silva replacement. With his release clause becoming active next summer, I'd be surprised if Bernardo remains a Manchester City player after next summer. Here's Gvardiol into the penalty area. Looks to try and put a ball across. Not the best of balls. Blocked by the first man. Gvardiol still manages to find a pass across to the right-hand side. He does have to go about 25 yards backwards, though, to find Ruben Dias. Here's Bernardo Silva. Just looks to try and thread a pass in to Julian Alvarez, and Bernardo Silva makes a slide-in challenge. He felt like he'd got the ball, and he's into the book now. 20-plus booking points. My 30-plus booking points on my bet looking rather good. Matty says Arsenal so flat so far is what he's made of it in the opening 22 minutes. Bernardo Silva does get the ball, but he wraps his leg around there. And that's why the free kick's being given. Do I think it's a yellow card? Is it a cynical foul is the question. Was there much on for Arsenal? I'm not so sure. But he's already given an Arsenal player a yellow card, Jorginho, before. I feel like the referee's levelling one up there. Here is Declan Rice for Arsenal. He's very much looking like he's playing more in that Rodri position. And that's given away by Arsenal. Here's Bernardo Silva. Thread it into Alvarez. It goes down and gets squared across. And good defending, a good recovery from Arsenal. Gabriel up against Alvarez. Alvarez looking to try and get a corner into Rico Lewis, and it's chipped up and collected by David Raya. And again, Man City just don't punish. Arsenal fans are getting frustrated. Matty says Arsenal fans are flat. They just keep shouting at their team, encouraging them, trying to get them to do something, because at the moment it is very much just one-way traffic. And if Arsenal don't sort this out soon, you can sense that Man City will punish them. And I think that's what the Arsenal fans sense as well. Arsenal just not got going as of right now. It's been a nervy 23 minutes here at the Emirates Stadium, and it's amazing, no Bukayo Saka, just how much Arsenal may be reliant upon him and how different they look without him being there. So, guys, do like the video, subscribe as well if you're new around here, and do let me know your thoughts in the live chat as well. Here's Kyle Walker then for Manchester City. Gives the ball to Ruben Dias. He sends it long for City. Down the line towards Haaland. Haaland wants a free kick. Referee says no. Arsenal can come forward instead. Jorginho gives it to Zinchenko. Here's Leandro Trossard now on the left wing for Arsenal. Inside the Manchester City half. Gives it back to Zinchenko. Here's Jorginho. Zinchenko once more. Man City not pressing Zinchenko here. Odegaard drops a shoulder lovely on Bernardo Silva and gives the ball to Gabriel Jesus just on the outside of the penalty area now. Doesn't use the overlap of Ben White. Instead goes back to Martin Odegaard. Worked into the centre. Jorginho looks to try and thread one through, and Gabriel Jesus just pushes Phil Foden over, and a free kick given. Jesus gets a shot away past his Brazilian international teammate Ederson and hits the post, but it wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have counted. Clear push from Gabriel Jesus in the back of Phil Foden, and a nice, easy decision there for the referee to make. 25 minutes in here then at the Emirates. 0-0 between Arsenal and Manchester City. Neither team have showed the quality in the final third. Arsenal's defence has looked shakier than Manchester City's. But we're still awaiting that opening goal. Ederson finds Kyle Walker right on the touchline there. And Ruben Dias gets his foot in all wrong and just chips that ball out of play for a throw into Arsenal. I feel like Manchester City look better when Arsenal are the ones on the ball, and City are just looking for them to make the mistakes because they look like they're more likely to make a mistake. But here's Eddie Nketiah inside the Manchester City penalty area, and the first shot of the game for Arsenal goes wide by Eddie Nketiah, and it remains 0-0. Ruben Dias making two mistakes in 1 minute, and Eddie Nketiah allowing him to get the shot away. It's not really close from Eddie Nketiah. He doesn't get any of the curl or bend that he's looking for. Just kind of puts his laces through it and ends up just moving in the opposite direction to what he was looking for and trying to go for the far post. And no danger there to Ederson's goal. Here is Rico Lewis for Manchester City, and he will get a free kick on Leandro Trossard. Arsenal fans and players not happy about that decision after a heavy touch there from Rico Lewis. Here's Bernardo Silva stood over this then. Goes back to Ederson. Matty reckons Jeremy Doku will come on at some point. I think we'll see him at some point. Interesting to see what the context of the game is. Martin Odegaard makes an interception on Nathan Ake's pass, and Martin Odegaard starts shouting to the crowd to make some noise, clearly looking for adrenaline and emotion to push them through. Thing is, for the Arsenal fans, they're looking for the team to show some encouragement, and the fact is they're just not playing that well. But here's Gabriel Jesus picking the pocket of Mateo Kovacic, and Jorginho now finds the pass to Oleksandr Zinchenko on the left-hand side, and a chance for him to put something of quality into the box, and it doesn't beat Ruben Dias, and he heads it clear. Only as far as Ben White. Here is Gabriel Jesus on the right wing looking for a cross. Can't find the cross. Combination of Foden and Kovacic covering the gaps there means Arsenal have to go backwards here. And here is Saliba now. Got no options. Sideways pass to Jorginho. Here is Gabriel Jesus, just been forced backwards here by Manchester City. Seamus asking, is Diaz having a bad start to the season? I don't think he's having a bad start to the season. He's a top quality player. As Mateo Kovacic commits foul on Martin Odegaard and is going to go into the book. And that's my 30-plus booking points in already. Time to cash out? Maybe. Let's have a look. VAR's having a look at this one from Kovacic. His studs are slightly high. And it just goes down onto his ankle. There's no malice into it. It's not. They're checking for a possible red card for serious foul play. Not for me. Not for me. Problem you've got is his studs are up, but not for me. Yeah, they've made the correct decision. So VAR's completed the check. Yellow card's the correct decision. And it is the correct decision. The problem you had, they're comparing it to last week. And the problem you had last week with Liverpool's red card was it was over the top of the ball, which is what's classed as high. Mateo Kovacic goes in with a sliding challenge. His studs are up, which means you're running the risk. I think if the referee gives a red card as his initial instinct, I don't think VAR would overturn that because his studs are up. So because he's given the yellow card, VAR will be looking at that and saying, is this high? Is it endangering the player? And not for me. He's making a challenge. His studs are up, but it's low down on the leg and onto the ankle. If it's higher up and more into that snapping emotion, that kicking emotion, I'd say more of that'd be a red card if it was higher up on his leg. Football is played at the feet and ankles. That's just how the game is. He goes over the top of the ball and it's high. A foul given there against Manchester City. Gabriel Jesus goes down and Arsenal just starting to get themselves fired up here. Cash out offering of 41 pence. So my booking points is in. We need a Haaland shot on target. We need a Julian Alvarez goal. And we need both teams to score. This game just starting to get a bit scrappy. And I think City just need to settle it down. And I think the last thing we need is red cards. A couple of yellow cards already to Manchester City and one for Arsenal. So I think City just need to just keep the heads. Got a set piece to defend here. Get the ball clear. Settle the game down. Regroup. Go again. Odegaard to take. So some defending here for City to do. It's not the greatest ball into the box. Ederson dropped the ball and gets it on the second attempt. City just nearly creating themselves a problem there when they didn't need to. Not the best of balls in that from Martin Odegaard. Josko Gvardiol was keeping everyone on side there for Arsenal as they dummied it from Leandro Trossard and nearly caught Manchester City out, but too close to the keeper in the end. And Manchester City do eventually gather that ball up, and Manchester City can now look to try and regroup as City get themselves a throw in midway inside their own half for a Ben White challenge on Phil Foden. So Arsenal, they're looking at trying to press Manchester City. They're looking to try and keep Manchester City frustrated, keep us penned in, quick pressing, try and win that ball back as quickly as possible. Very much how Manchester City play, which doesn't surprise me because Mikel Arteta, of course, learnt from Pep Guardiola. Here is Erling Haaland now for Manchester City. Finds a pass out to Bernardo Silva, and he can just work the ball to the right-hand side and some space here for Kyle Walker. City inside the Arsenal half towards the penalty area. Walker finds Julian Alvarez. He can't get the ball under control, and Arsenal can get that one clear. And then Nketiah up against Ruben Dias gets a challenge in, and that'll go out of play for a throw into Manchester City. And the Arsenal fans get animated by that challenge, literally trying to motivate their team. As I said, they're running on adrenaline and emotion here. The Arsenal fans, I think, know that they're not playing particularly well. And if you're not playing particularly well against us, they need to try and make this tight and compact and really get behind the team and try and get this as hostile as possible. The problem that they're having and running on emotion, I find, though, is for the initial instinct of one press and getting that one challenge, they get motivated, and then 10 seconds later with City still having the ball, the stadium just falls quiet again. We just need to keep working our game. I'm confident we find the opening goal here. I think we go on to win this game. I really do. I've not seen enough of Arsenal here to think that Manchester City are being troubled. It's going to take a Man City mistake for Arsenal to break down as Ederson just launches the ball long. Lovely touch from Erling Haaland. Gives it to Julian Alvarez. Space is here for Alvarez, and he fires it over the top of the crossbar. Opened up nicely for him, and out for a goal kick. Better that from Manchester City, I think. Nice direct play. Catch Arsenal out. They have the opportunity there. Gets underneath it too much there, Julian Alvarez. Good defending, actually, I think, from Declan Rice to put pressure onto Alvarez to make sure he's not got a comfortable strike on the ball and he's forced to rush it. As we are now just 63 likes away from 100 likes, so any help towards that would be great. And do subscribe if you haven't already. 0-0 here at the Emirates then. Arsenal 0, Manchester City 0, 34 minutes in. David Raya with the ball for Arsenal. Like he was going to send it long. He doesn't. Gives it to Declan Rice. And that's a late challenge. This could be a red card. Referee says no for a second yellow card. It's late on Rice. And Mateo Kovacic needs to keep his head. Referee says no. VAR won't get involved with a second yellow card. We've already seen that from Hwang Hee-chan last week. And it's naughty from Mateo Kovacic. I think if I'm Manchester City, I'd potentially be thinking about taking Kovacic off because you just feel like he's a walking red card here. Arteta knows he's not getting the second yellow card, but makes the point that that's his second one. I think any more fouls from Kovacic that's late or an arguable 50-50 booking, he could be sent off. A good decision, good refereeing that from Michael Oliver. He doesn't want to have too much of an impact here on a big game. He doesn't want to give a red card unless he needs to give a red card because it's a big call. Phil Foden gets pushed in the face. He wants a free kick. City will defend that one out and that'll go out of play for a call to Arsenal. Josko Gvardiol can't believe it. Phil Foden's been pushed in the face. He's not happy about it. Nixon says he agrees. Get him subbed off. I think so. I really do. It is stupid from Mateo Kovacic. Really stupid. There is a little brush in the face from Gabriel Jesus. It should have been a free kick, nothing more. But and a cheap corner given away here by Manchester City. So more defending for City to do. Martin Odegaard stood over this one. Can he put something into the box of quality? Crosses it in to the near post. Cleared by City. Alvarez it is that gets his head onto it. Foden gets his foot onto it to try and get it clear. City's instruction from the defenders is to push back out. Not the best of balls in. Headed clear by Alvarez once more. Only as far as Martin Odegaard. Yeah, if I'm Manchester City, I'm thinking substitute Mateo Kovacic ASAP. I look to the options on the bench. John Stones, Kalvin Phillips, Manuel Akanji, Matheus Nunes. They're all options here, I think, for City. Matheus Nunes probably the obvious choice. Gary Neville reckons it should have been a red card for Kovacic. I think City have got away with it, and I think they need to get him off the pitch. I said he does anything else wrong here, Mateo Kovacic, he's off. We can't afford to go down to 10 men. We don't win this game if we go down to 10 men, in my opinion. Good ball forward, that from Arsenal. Really good ball. Gabriel Jesus. Poor pass from Jesus. City slip falls nicely. Jorginho to Trossard and tackled well by Manchester City. Erling Haaland can't find his pass and surrounded out well by Arsenal. Not great play from City. Really not great play. Arsenal just getting up ahead of steam here. Not the greatest of passes from Gabriel Jesus to Ben White, and that can be defended by Josko Gvardiol and out for a throw into Arsenal. Pema says need to make changes here. Arsenal just getting up ahead of steam. Phases of play. I've got a feeling right from now to half-time is going to be dominated now by Arsenal. Manchester City haven't taken their opportunities. Arsenal do feel hard done by. So they're getting the adrenaline push through and they're trying to make a game here. Good throw into the channel. Gabriel Jesus to Martin Odegaard. Can they get a shot away here? Falls to the edge of the penalty area. Zinchenko with the first shot and the second and blocked both times by Manchester City. Here's Rico Lewis. He's got a pass in towards Erling Haaland. He goes down and shoulder to shoulder coming together. Haaland can't believe it. He was away. He was ready for the foot race with Saliba then. Rico Lewis just played the ball into the channel and are coming together. Referee says shoulder to shoulder and play on, and Arsenal come away with the football. I'll have to see that one again. That'd be interesting. Here is Jorginho. 38 minutes here, gone at the Emirates, 0-0. Saliba now to Ben White. Ball into the channel, looking for Gabriel Jesus. Turns Gvardiol. Gives it to Odegaard. Tries to thread it back through. Gvardiol struggled a little bit in this game so far, I think. Rico Lewis doesn't protect the ball properly, but makes the interception nonetheless. And Alvarez and Rico Lewis has made a great run on the left-hand side. Haaland doesn't use him. Alvarez, he gets the overlap of Walker. Goes himself, crossed in and cleared. Well, good defending that by Gabriel. Really good defending. And Arsenal look now for their own counter-attack to try and come forward. City covering the gap. Walker does really well. And Zinchenko just puts his foot for it, and Manchester City can come away with the ball. Good play that all round. Good defending from Arsenal. Good offensive play and distribution from Manchester City. Good football all round. We're looking here at two very good, high-quality teams, both of whom probably haven't got their best players on the pitch. De Bruyne, Rodri missing for City, Saka missing for Arsenal, and Martinelli on the bench as well. Here's Nathan Ake. Gives it to Mateo Kovacic. Foden now. Back to Mateo Kovacic. Put under pressure from Odegaard. He does well. Finds his pass to Haaland. Gives it to Rico Lewis. Foden. That's a good pass here. Chance. Early cross comes in. And right towards Haaland. Raya comes for it. Doesn't make contact. And Zinchenko just puts his knee onto it and out of play for a corner to Manchester City. The Rumbler not happy with Michael Oliver. Said he's not seen a ref this bad since Lou Sassoli in Italia 90. Arsenal get away with that. Raya comes for it and doesn't get it. And Manchester City have a corner. Ruben Dias gets forward. Ake forward. Gvardiol forward. Phil Foden to take. Whips it in and headed clear this time by Arsenal. Struggled on the last corner that City put in. Here's Josko Gvardiol. Can't find his pass. Does manage to keep hold of the ball here for Manchester City though, but he has to go all the way back to Ederson. I repeat, I don't think Josko Gvardiol is having his best game here for Manchester City. Good pass from Ederson into Gvardiol. Ake just has to put his foot through it and get it clear. And Arsenal can just win the ball back there. City never looked comfortable then on the ball. And Arsenal, 4 minutes remaining, plus whatever's to be added on here in the first half. Gabriel just gives instructions there to Jorginho about where he wants him to be. Gabriel goes cross-field to Ben White. Good touch from Ben White. And Arsenal can have the ball inside the Manchester City half. Now here's Gabriel Jesus. Plays a pass into the channel. Nathan Ake will mop that one up for City and he'll work a pass back to Ederson now. Here's Eddie. Gives it to Phil Foden. Nearly shoved off it. Good work from Foden. Bernardo Silva. Feel like Foden and Bernardo complement each other in the middle really well. I've enjoyed seeing that. Seamus says he reckons maybe Stones for Kovacic. Problem is, I don't know how fit John Stones is. Can John Stones do a full half of football? Can he come off the bench in the second half for Kovacic so he doesn't run the risk of getting that red card? I'll be mightily disappointed if Kovacic doesn't get a red card before half-time, that if he comes out for the second half and picks up a red card, I'll be very annoyed because he's treading a very fine line. Any more fouls committed by Kovacic, and I think he goes. And we can't have any complaints. I think we've already got away with one already. And if John Stone's obviously the most natural of options, if he can't do 45 minutes, my first question is, why is he on the bench? But if he can't do 45 minutes, then the only other option really you've got is Matheus Nunes. Seamus says he reckons 45 minutes he'll be able to do. Realistically, if you're on the bench, you should be able to do 90 minutes because you might be needed. All depends on what condition the player is in. Same with Martinelli just coming back from injury as well. You don't know how sharp and how rusty they're going to be. You don't really want to chuck them in at the deep end here in a game that is so good, but also so important as well. You've got to get every decision that you make is important. It could be absolutely pivotal to the game. Kovacic looks for a ball towards Rico Lewis. Just nowhere near, and Zinchenko can just chest that one and control it under very little pressure. Leandro Trossard now gives the ball to Declan Rice and Kovacic. I enjoy his pressing. He's just goes charging in like a bull in the china shop. He's a walking red card, I tell you right now. He is a walking red card. Here's Saliba then for Arsenal. Manchester City got another minute to defend out here, plus whatever's to be added on. And I reckon we've had a VAR check, a couple of corners, a few yellow cards. I reckon you're probably looking at maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Haven't really been that inactive in this game. Might not even be that, to be honest. Here's Declan Rice. Gives it to Trossard. Nketiah now, surrounded out by Bernardo Silva. He does really well to find that pass back to Jorginho. Here's Ben White. Martin Odegaard gives it to Gabriel Jesus. Jesus has looked very lively on that right wing for Arsenal. And Manchester City just happy for Arsenal to have a little bit more of the ball and just look to cover them gaps and defend here. Get this in to 0-0 at half-time. Regroup for the second half. Here's Gabriel Jesus. Says he still have work to do, though, here. Gives it to Jorginho. Odegaard gets control of that. Nketiah looked offside and flag goes up. And needless that from Arsenal. Odegaard could easily just carried on making that run and been perfectly fine. Nketiah takes the ball off him, offside. And we're going to go into added time now. We'll see how long gets added on. Ten goal contributions for Saka in 10 appearances so far this season. 5 goals, 5 assists. Big loss that for Arsenal. And it is, I said, the ball's not really been that inactive. 2 minutes added on here. Here is Nathan Ake now for Manchester City. He's got options on the right, goes to the left. Here comes Nathan Ake now. Gives it to Ruben Dias. Peter, thanks for tuning in. Says, we're sold Palmer, bought in Kovacic. Disaster bit of business. To be fair, Kovacic was brought in as our Gundogan replacement. So he's meant to be our silky hilky replacement. And I don't think Kovacic is a bad player. I don't even think he's had a bad game. He's just a walking red card that's causing me problems. Cole Palmer's game time was going to be limited and City got offered a good amount. In an ideal world, I want another season of Cole Palmer. Let him develop, but it is what it is. City got a good offer. We sold him. We move on. We brought in Jeremy Doku instead, who helps cover on the wings and offers something a little bit different to City. So I'd like to have kept Cole. I think this season would have been a big season for him, and I think he would have stood up to the plate. He already scored many important goals so far. Community Shield, he scored. I think he grabbed a goal in the Premier League for Manchester City as well. Oh, no, European Super Cup it was as well. There we go. Right, just 20 seconds remaining of this half. Arsenal have a free kick, headed out of play for a throw into Manchester City, and I think City will just be happy to coast this one to half-time. And don't even get through the 2 minutes. Referee happy to bring that one to an end, and Kovacic does remain on the pitch. And we're going level here, 0-0 at half-time, as Arsenal asking the question about that red card for Mateo Kovacic that wasn't given for a second bookable offence. And I think the first thing I'd be doing if I was City, half-time Kovacic off and somebody else on. John Stones, Matheus Nunes, anyone, because I think if City go down to 10 men, this is going to be one-way traffic in the second half. As of right now, first half of the first half dominated by City, second half of the first half dominated by Arsenal. I've come to expect no less. A nice, close, tight, narrow game at the Emirates, waiting for that opening goal and waiting for this game to open up. But as of right now, can't really divide these two teams. So we're going to go and have a look at the stats for this game, see what they're suggesting to us, and see what we can draw up from what the stats are showing. So we'll just get the stats up for this game. So as you can see, yellow cards for Bernardo Silva on 23 minutes and Mateo Kovacic on 29 minutes and lucky to be on the pitch after that challenge on, I think it was Jorginho, when he went down clipping on his ankle, looking not to get second yellow card. Jorginho on a yellow card himself as well. options for City on the bench if we do want to make that sub for Kovacic. As I said, Kalvin Phillips is one option. John Stones is another. Jack Grealish, want to move him into midfield or move Foden more into a deeper role. Put Grealish on to occupy and let Bernardo Silva play more out wide for City. City not really getting too much depth involved in this game when it comes to our wide players. So Jeremy Doku, as the game goes on, could be a good option. Sergio Gomez could go into midfield. Akanji's another good option. Oscar Bobb, a good player as well for a wide attacking option. Matheus Nunes, I think the obvious option there for Manchester City. So on to the stats for this game. 0-0 at half-time. Manchester City having more possession, just under 55% possession compared with 45% possession for Arsenal. 5 shots for Arsenal, none on target. They'll be disappointed not to have tested Ederson. It's not been the most fluent or best of performances, I don't think, from Arsenal in that first half. But Manchester City not showing their clinical touch. 3 shots, just 1 on target. Not really worked out for City. And I think the longer this game goes on, the closer and closer this is going to get with these stats, because there's just not too much to call. 2 offsides apiece. 2 shots off target apiece. 3 block shots for Arsenal, none for Manchester City. Pass completion rate 86.7 compared with 87.3. A couple of clear-cut chances created by City. The only thing we've done is a corner 3 minutes in, caught Arsenal napping, and that might just be when they're most vulnerable first 5 minutes of the second half to have a pop at them, because as the half's gone on, Arsenal have really grown in confidence and looked like a better team, but they've not really made it work as well, missing the important player in Bukayo Saka, of course, but City equally missing the impact of Rodri and, of course, Kevin De Bruyne on this game as well. Couple of corners apiece as well, couple of offsides for Arsenal, none for Manchester City. Tackle completion rate for City at 66%, 33% for Arsenal. Aerial duels, the same percentage. No saves for either keeper to make. As I said, you're not going to see many stats as close as what you do for this game. 1 yellow card at the moment for Arsenal, 2 for Manchester City, which we have just spoken about. So would love to know your thoughts, guys, in the comments. That would be much appreciated. What are your halftime thoughts? Let me know in the live chat. Mixon says the major one was a sale of Gundogan, not really replacing him. They brought Kovacic in, but it's always so difficult to replace someone of Gundogan's level and experience of what he's got. It's just one of them things, isn't it? I'd like to have kept Gundogan here. He chose not to be here. He wanted to leave Manchester City. Barcelona were willing to offer him a longer deal than what City were prepared to offer, which was disappointing from my point of view. It's in the past. It's happened. We have to move on from that. It's a matter for me to discuss at the end of the season as to whether that was a correct decision, because time remains to be seen as to whether it was the correct decision for Manchester City to make or not. But Gundogan does leave Manchester City. We've got Kovacic. We have to deal with that as the season progresses. So, guys, we're now just 59 likes away from 100 likes. Any help towards that would be great. Don't forget as well to subscribe as well, and do let me know your halftime thoughts in the live chat. So I do have some halftime entertainment for you guys to enjoy. It is brought to you by my partner channel, Mix. You can find his link in the description if you want to go and check him out. That would be much appreciated. But this is Mixed, providing the halftime entertainment, which is, of course, the Ramos Gin Fizz Summer Cocktail, whilst it's still warm, even though it is the beginning of October. So do sit back, relax, grab yourself a drink and some snacks and stuff, and I will see you ready for the second half.
Back again for another summer cocktail, but this is the biggest project I've ever done on the Mixed, but one of the hardest cocktails I've ever made on this channel. So it's the bartender's bane. Can you guess what it is? So with the bartender's bane, it can be none other than the Ramos Gin Fizz. It's a very advanced technique. It's not easy, and it takes a lot of patience to build this cocktail, and you will see why. To get the technique right and get that foam right, because the foam is everything to this cocktail. So let's get straight into it. So to make the Ramos Gin Fizz, what you want to do is get your shaker. So the thing we're not putting in is soda water and the orange blossom water, but I'm using orange bitters because I don't have orange blossom water, so I'm improvising a little bit here. But one thing we can do is build up the other one. So what I'll do, I'll put a Tom Collins glass in the freezer, so I'm going to leave it in there for 3 minutes to let it chill out, but I'll come back to that in a bit. So the first thing going into the tin, guys, is 60ml, 2 ounces of gin. If you are very traditional, you can use a Tom Collins gin. But I'm just using any old gin. I like the Botanis. So next is 3/4 ounce or 22.5 ml of sugar syrup. Next, 3¼ ounce or 0.75 ounce or 22.5 ml of double cream. So with double cream rather than single cream, it gives better results. You should find it a better stabiliser. Next, 1/2 ounce or 15 ml of fresh lemon juice. Next, 1/2 ounce or 15 ml of fresh lime juice. So just for clarification, I have made one, a few hours ago, just for practice, and it's gone very, very well. So next is 1 ml of vanilla extract. So what I'm going to do is a little drop of vanilla syrup. Again, I'm improvising. So that's about 3 ml. And the last thing you want to do now is 1 egg white. So crack it. So it's about 3/4 ounce or 22.5 ml of egg white. So what we're going to do is add the spring. It's just so, and you'll see why, is to give it a better head. So it's got to be a dry shake first. And then we'll add that. So we're going to give this a very hard shake for 1 minute. So this is why it's called the bartender's vein. It requires a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of patience.
One minute later.
And there we go, 1 minute later. So I've got 1 giant ice cube here, and you'll see why. You don't want to put in too many ice cubes. So just 1 giant ice cube should do the trick. So I took the spring out this time, and what we'll do is give it a nice hard shake until that ice block has dissolved. Give it a nice bang, nice and secure. Now, a good hard shake again until that's melted. So you can hear it banging. So we're going to keep shaking it until I'll no longer hear that noise. Because it'll be dead cold and dead ice. And then what we'll do, we'll get the Tom Collins glass out the freezer. My arms are tired.
One eternity later.
There we go, it's finally melted. A minute later. So let's get our Tom Collins glass out the freezer. Right, so now we've got 1 Tom Collins glass. As you can see, it's nice and freezing, it's nice and cold. So let's strain into it. So put your strainer on, put it to one side. What we're going to do now is add 45 ml or 1.5 ounce of soda water. And just add a drop of orange bitters. It should be blossom water, this orange blossom water. So now we'll go slowly straight into our Tom Collins glass now. So what we're going to do is leave it in the freezer now for 3 minutes, let it chill out, just to let it settle. Think of it like a pint of Guinness, just let it settle, and then we'll top it up with soda, and you'll see a nice head on it. So now that it's settled down, what we're going to do is top it up with soda water now. So create a nice little hole in the middle. Doesn't it look fantastic? Just look at that photo. But there we have it, one Ramos gym fizz, and doesn't it look fantastic? The foam makes it, because it's not quite to the extent. I'll just show you the first attempt. It went a little bit better than this. I'll just show you the head on the first one. So as you can see, this is the first attempt. The foam was a lot more stabilised than this one. It's both good attempts, but the first one was even better. Just want to show you the first one. You can see the foam goes up a little bit higher without spilling, so it's a lot more stabilised, this one. And with the first one, what I didn't do, I didn't put the spring in, so maybe it made it a little bit worse. I'm not sure, but that is a Ramos Gym Fizz. The bartender's bane, but once it's done properly, it looks fantastic. It just takes time, effort, and a lot of shaking. But that, guys, is the Ramos Gym Fizz. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen, one Ramos Gym Fizz. Final thing to do now. How does it taste? Ah, smashing. Because it's not your usual gin with the sourness. You can taste it, but it's a little bit strange with the vanilla extract or vanilla syrup in my case, especially with the cream. So it sweetens it up, so it's a strange balance, but I like it. It tastes absolutely lovely though. Because I don't think I wish is probably... I'm not an expert bartender to try and get the foam absolutely massive like I'm still very proud of my effort, especially with the first one, so that was even better than this one. But if I was to rate it, it's 10 out of 10 just for the showmanship, just to show that I can make a Ramos Gym Fizz on this channel. It's finally being done. It's one of the hardest cocktails to make, just requires a lot of effort and very little room for error. You've got to get everything right with the measurements, got to say how much to put in, how long to shake for, is everything has to be precision. But that, guys, is a Ramos Gym Fizz. Thank you for getting us 2K, but I will be doing a special 2K video that is find some cocktails you must try this summer, as they'll be my personal favourite summer cocktails I'll be making for that special video. So I do thank you all. So now on 2.01k, so we are on the road again. So it says our next goal will be 5k. But this has been the Ramos Gym Fizz. Do let me know in the comments below if you ever attempted to make this horrible, horrible time-consuming cocktail. Because I can see why bartenders hate it. As I hated doing that. It requires a lot of shake, a lot of effort. But that, guys, has been the Ramos Gym Fizz. I've been Mixid. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Mixid for more cocktails like this, and I will see you guys for another summer cocktail. Cheers. Feel like an expert bartender at last. Oh no!
Thank you very much there to Mixid for providing today's halftime entertainment. Much appreciated. Treble winners reckons Kovacic needs to come off as Leandro Trossard comes off and Gabriel Martinelli comes on. Marlon, I agree 100% as Arsenal get us underway for the second half, and it looks like Kovacic has come out for the second half as Julia confirms there. Not for me. As I said, Mateo Kovacic ends up getting a second yellow. I'm not going to be very happy. And I think it's Pep Guardiola's fault. Obviously, Kovacic and Pep Guardiola's fault for that. Because he has the choice. We've gotten away with one. He shouldn't be on the pitch. But we can all agree with that as Raya shows too much of that to Alvarez again and tries to press and force it. And again, just running the risk there. Gets away with it. Just keeping an eye on the Jacksonville match. I'm going to put it on my phone and put it down there. Interesting end. 1-score game with 4 minutes remaining. Jacksonville lead against the Bills. Here's Arsenal coming forward now. Nketiah takes a touch. Good interception from Nathan Ake. There we go. Got the NFL on as well. Keep an eye on that. Here's Martinelli. So Martinelli's going on the left wing here, looking to try and provide a bit of tenacity to the Arsenal attack. Manchester City are attacking towards the away end here, second half. Here is Gabriel Martinelli. Goes for a cross. It's deep, too deep, and over the top of everybody and out of play for a goal kick. I mean, it's not the worst the ball's in from Martinelli. It's just slightly too much on it and over everybody. Sent long by Manchester City and intercepted by Arsenal here. Here is Ben White. Gives it to Gabriel Jesus. Tries to get a ball across. Can't. Gvardiol hits the hand of Jesus. Not given as a free kick. How has that not been given as a free kick? I don't understand. Trevor Lawrence just gone with a cracking throw under pressure there for Jacksonville. They look to hold on. Getting towards field goal territory. Oh, that's a terrible clearance from Gvardiol. I'm going to repeat what I said in the first half. I just don't think Gvardiol's having the best of games here for Manchester City. I really don't. Needless throwing given away there by Manchester City. Throwing comes in, Jesus. So no, took an awkward bounce and a good collection that from Ederson. Ederson then rolls it out to Ruben Dias. Gives it to Ederson. Ake receives the ball on the left-hand side here for Manchester City. Got Odegaard for company. Gives it back to Ederson. Work to Ruben Dias. Julian Alvarez, and Arsenal can have the ball back again. Just not brilliant from City. And Nketiah into the penalty area now. Tries to get a ball across. Bernardo Silva's back, and Arsenal will get themselves a corner here. So I think they're in for a touchdown here. Jacksonville, they are, and that'll end the match. Touchdown Jacksonville against the Bills. Corner for Arsenal. Defending for City to do. Martinelli. It's a good ball in. Back post. Great block from Manchester City. Still not clear. Shot comes in and over the top of the crossbar. Really good work from Manchester City. Ederson not happy. He wanted a free kick for that. Not given. The extra point added by Jacksonville as well. And that will be the game. Rico Lewis can't make the interception. Declan Rice. Threads a pass in. Martinelli goes for the shot and straight at Ederson. City just 6s and 7s here. Really are. Rico Lewis dispossessed far too easily by Declan Rice there. Yeah, that's Arsenal's first shot on target. Straight at the keeper. And City just keep losing the ball. I mean, again, just like a lot of games this season, there's no supply to Haaland. They've got no way of getting Haaland involved in this game. You've got the best striker in the world getting no service. At the moment, City are just struggling to get possession. Ball gets sent long towards Gabriel Jesus. Passes back to Saliba here. Back to Raya in goal. Raya sends this long then for Arsenal towards Jesus. Gvardiol will win that in the air. Phil Foden will protect himself in front of the ball and will get a free kick on from Ben White. Geezer Dan reckons City need to change this one up, get a few subs on. I agree, it's not going to plan this. Really not going to plan for Manchester City. Zinchenko just comes forward. Here's Declan Rice. Gives it to Nketiah. Under pressure from Walker. Kept pushing him in the back there. I don't really understand why. Here is Saliba now. To Jesus. All play in the second half. First 7 minutes just been played inside the Manchester City half. City struggling to get control of the ball. Rico Lewis is under pressure as well. Ederson gives it to Nathan Ake. Does well eventually for City to keep hold of this ball. Here's Gvardiol. City could start thinking about the counter-attack here because the game players forward. There's space there for City. They're just not finding the correct passes that they need. And City don't like this. They don't like this. Tell you right now, they don't like this. Here's Ben White. City need to do something a little bit different here because this isn't working. And, Buffalo Bills going with a touchdown. Still 2 minutes remaining in there. So maybe not over yet at the Spurs Stadium. Field goal converted. 5-point game. Walker then throws it to Bernardo Silva. Finds a pass to Ruben Dias. Ederson works it to the left. Gvardiol gives it to Foden. Under pressure. He's got nowhere to go. And dispossessed. Arsenal want a free kick. Crying for a free kick. Says play on. Advantage played. Chipped into space. And Nketiah is surrounded out here by a sea of blue and he gives the ball away. Good work from Manchester City. Here's Foden. Drives forward. Bernardo Silva gives it to Kovacic. Nearly dispossessed by Arsenal. There's space here. Here's Rico Lewis. Come on. Lewis needs to protect the ball. It goes through the back of him. Lewis. He's in. He scores. And the whistle's gone. The referee's given a free kick to Manchester City. So Rico Lewis bursts forward, goes through the back of him, stops playing because it is a free kick, but it falls nicely to Rico Lewis. Why has he not played advantage there? I mean, to be fair, it hits his arm, so it wouldn't have counted anyway. Free kick to Manchester City then probably is the correct decision. It's his arm, so it wouldn't have counted. I'll have a free kick instead. So free kick here for Manchester City. I mean, it's a long way out from goal. This good 35 yards. Foden, Walker, Lewis stood over this. It's very central. What do you do from here? Ball gets put into the box. Just not a very good one. Kovacic. And not a good ball into the box again. Tom, thanks for tuning in. City were on top first 25 minutes. Arsenal have been on top since then. Have been on top second half, Arsenal as well. David Raya. Rico Lewis trying to put the pressure on. That's a good interception from Josko Gvardiol. The ball stays in play. Jesus not happy about that. Yeah, Manchester City, no shots in the second half. Less possession. 44% possession for City, 56% for Arsenal. This game being dictated by Arsenal. City just over the last 2 or 3 minutes just started to grow into it, though. Haaland feeds Alvarez. Gvardiol into the penalty area. Goes first time. Foden lays it off. Alvarez with a shot. Good block. Kovacic now to Walker. Walker. Thought he was going to have a shot there. Thought it was going to be my tip. Walker with the goal. It is Bernardo Silva now. Gives it to Nathan Ake. Josko Gvardiol. Bernardo Silva now. City's turn to get players forward. Arsenal's turn to defend. 58 minutes in here at the Emirates. 0-0. Haaland. Oh, good turn from Haaland. And he loses his footing and slips. Declan Rice. Gives it to Ben White. Ben White just currently stood on top of the ball. Ball's active. It's not doing anything. 30 minutes left to play here. A big 30 minutes. Here's Raya. To Gabriel Zinchenko. Back to Gabriel. Sends it long. Tries to find Nketiah and out for a throw-in. Ake will take. Here's Ruben Dias. Bernardo Silva with the ball. Gives it to Nathan Ake. Ruben Dias. Gives it to Kyle Walker. Ruben Dias once more. Just works it backwards to Ederson. Don't forget to like the video if you are enjoying the content. That'd be much appreciated. Subscribe as well if you're new around here. Press that red button, press the bell, and put your push notifications on. Here's Rico Lewis. Gives it to Kyle Walker. Ake with the ball. Ruben Dias. City just taking the sting out of this game. And then just give the ball away in a silly position. Martin Odegaard now. Gives it to Ben White. Gabriel Jesus. Burst forward here for Arsenal. Gives it to Declan Rice. He has to turn. He's got nowhere to go. Would I take a draw? I would take a draw. I would, yeah. No Rodri, no De Bruyne. Keep things as you were. It means we're not first. It means Spurs are first. Do I think Spurs are going to win the league? No. I think our threat lies with Arsenal and Liverpool. From what I've seen in the early parts of the season, Spurs have got off to a good start. They're a good team. I don't think they have the quality to win the Premier League, if I'm honest. Odegaard has a shot blocked well by Manchester City. Jorginho now gives the ball to Gabriel Jesus just on the outside of the Manchester City penalty area. Lines up nicely here for Zinchenko. Works it to Martinelli. Oh, yeah, it's Kyle Walker. He wants to get onto that right foot. Gives it to Zinchenko. Takes a touch. Cross comes in. Headed clear by Gvardiol. Ben White finds Gabriel Jesus in space. Jesus works across and out for a corner. Good defending that by Nathan Ake. Corner Arsenal. Headed clear by Manchester City. It was Odegaard that put the ball. He didn't really beat the near post, and Zinchenko gets his shot all wrong and over the top of the crossbar. I love that. Mikel Arteta's beaten every single team he's faced in the Premier League at least once, except Manchester City. He's never beaten Manchester City before. But no De Bruyne, no Rodri, and on home turf, I'd say this is the chance for them to do that. 0-0 it remains. Raya then sends it long. City then are going to send on John Stones, Matheus Nunes, and Jeremy Doku. And City do finally make them changes. One of them is going to be Mateo Kovacic, I'm certain of it. Bernardo Silva gives it to Nathan Ake. Here's Ederson. Some fresh faces. That's a great pass from Ederson. Lovely movement into space from Alvarez. Gives it to Foden. There's a run of Gvardiol. There's a run of Haaland. Takes a heavy touch, Haaland, but still finds Gvardiol. He works to the right-hand side, and it's just not a very good ball, but Kyle Walker will keep it in play. Here's Rico Lewis. Gives it to Bernardo Silva. Nathan Ake. Mateo Kovacic. Bernardo Silva now. Rico Lewis. Round the Arsenal penalty area, but there was movement from Gvardiol, not used from Kovacic there. Bernardo gives it to Ruben Dias. He goes for a cross towards Rico Lewis, and Ben White does the sensible thing just to nod that one out for a corner, and that will allow Manchester City to make this change. Been a turnover in the Jacksonville-Buffalo game, and that will be the game, and Jacksonville are going to beat Buffalo Bills in their away match 25-20. I don't think Buffalo will be too keen on coming back to London anytime soon, taking their home advantage away. Corner from City, fisted clear by David Raya. Booted all the way back to Ederson. City's still not made them changes yet. Here's Bernardo Silva now. Gives it to Mateo Kovacic. Ruben Dias now. Gives it to Bernardo Silva. Kovacic picks the ball up. Gives it to Bernardo once more. Here is Ruben Dias for Manchester City. Rico Lewis. Back to Ruben Dias. Bernardo Silva. I think he might be another one of the players coming off. I think Kovacic and Bernardo are coming off. Stones and Nunes on. Walker. Gives it to Bernardo. Arsenal fans getting frustrated. Trying to encourage the team. Just want the ball back. City dominating possession and finding a bit of space. Here's Kovacic. Midway inside the Arsenal half. Gives it to Bernardo Silva now. Rico Lewis in space. Opens up. How shot? Doesn't find a pass to Foden. Finds a pass forward to Haaland. Back to Foden. And not going anywhere. Not going anywhere. And Arsenal can sweep that ball up. Gabriel Jesus just gets a throw in for Arsenal. And now Manchester City are going to choose to make these changes. John Stones, the first of them coming on. And Rico Lewis is going to be the player coming off. There we go. And John Stones comes on. And Matheus Nunes comes on for Manchester City. And it is going to be Mateo Kovacic not getting the red card coming off. And finally, it's going to be Julian Alvarez that comes off for Manchester City. And Jeremy Doku is going to come on. So that's the end of my bet. Doku then providing something a little bit different here for the Arsenal defenders. I said they might give him 20 minutes, run at some tired legs, gets 22. We'll see how he gets on. Cleared long by Arsenal. Jesus tries to thread the pass through. Can't. Walker picks the ball up for City. Doku then's gone on the right. Goes up against Oleksandr Zinchenko. And Zinchenko does ever so well. Defends really well there. Declan Rice sends it long. Headed clear by Ruben Dias and finds Kyle Walker as well. So more pressure here for Arsenal to deal with. Great to see John Stones back. Really great to see him back. Finds a pass to Bernardo. Gives it to Doku. Goes up against Zinchenko again. Tries to take him on the outside. Turns. Ball comes across. Cleared by Jorginho. Ruben Dias reads that really well and manages to keep the ball for Manchester City. Nathan Ake now to Josko Gvardiol. Back to Nathan Ake. Stones. First time we see John Stones and Matheus Nunes together. Here is Walker. Again, Kalvin Phillips just not working for him, is it really? Don't forget, subscribe if you're new around here and please do leave a thumbs up. That would be great. And that's going to be given away by Manchester City and Arsenal start thinking about the counter-attack. Martin Odegaard up against Matheus Nunes. Gives it to Ben White. City back-pedaling, getting the players back. Jorginho now to Declan Rice. City managed to get everybody back and in position here. 20 minutes remaining in this massive Premier League clash between Arsenal and Manchester City. Nothing to decide between these two as of yet. Close game. Declan Rice. It's not really been a Premier League classic, has it? Been a very careful game of football. Game of few opportunities. And City just forcing Arsenal back here. Right back to Gabriel. And Kyle Walker goes in on Martinelli, judged to have fouled him, and free kick given. And just goes through him, and it is a free kick. Nothing more. Arsenal preparing 3 subs. Kai Havertz, Tomiyasu, and Thomas Partey are going to be the players coming on. It will be their 2nd, 3rd and 4th subs. Arsenal allow 1 more after this. City allowed 2 more. We've made 3 subs. Matheus Nunes has come on, along with Johnny Stones and Jeremy Doku. Sent long by Gabriel then. Just gives the ball away. I think Arsenal will be a bit frustrated with that. You can see why they're going to bring fresh legs on. Just looking a bit jagged and tired. Here's Jeremy Doku. Zinchenko does ever so well on him there. Declan Rice finds a pass into Odegaard, and that's well surrounded out by Matheus Nunes. And didn't play particularly well against Wolves last weekend. Matheus Nunes will be thinking to himself, get a good performance out there and rebuild from there. When you're so new to a club, you want to put in good performances game after game, every time you're playing, really. Bernardo Silva just chips the ball over to John Stones, intercepted well by Arsenal. And here is Gabriel Jesus coming forward for Arsenal now, and his pass not the best and dealt with so well, and lovely feet that from Kyle Walker. He can turn defence into attack here for Manchester City, and chooses to go backwards there, and I don't think that was the correct decision from Kyle. Here's Matheus Nunes now. Back to Nathan Ake. I feel like that's Man City's intention here. Man City happy with a point, happy just to knock it around, happy to wait for an Arsenal mistake, hold firm defensively, and see if we can come out of here with a point. And I genuinely believe that if we do come away from this game with a point, that serves us better than Arsenal. Here's Doku now, moved on to the left-hand side, going up against Ben White. Just bursts into the penalty area. Looks to put a ball across and gets a corner there for Manchester City. Just trying to think from the bench. City allowed a couple more subs. What direction City may want to go with. Grealish, Oscar Bobb. Akanji, defensive reinforcements. Not sure. If any more. So corner here for Manchester City. John Stones is forward. Gvardiol, Ake, Ruben Dias, Erling Haaland. Physicality there in Manchester City's set pieces, both defensively and offensively. Put a good ball into the box. See what they can do. Matheus Nunes it is then to take for City on this left-hand side. Ball comes in. Not the best, and caught there by David Raya. Arsenal fans encouraging David Raya to get it out as quickly as possible. Rolls it out to Oleksandr Zinchenko. To Martinelli. Tries to take on Kyle Walker. Gets it through the legs of Bernardo Silva and keeps hold of the ball. And gets his pass as well. Here's Martin Odegaard. It sets up nicely for Odegaard and just gets his shot all wrong and over the top of the crossbar. Not been Odegaard's best of games, I don't think, this one. And with 60 minutes remaining, Arsenal can make them 3 substitutions. So we're going to see Oleksandr Zinchenko, the first player coming off for the Manchester City man. He comes off, and we're going to see Tomiyasu come on for him, and he'll go in at, I presume, left back. Next up, Eddie Nketiah, not really been his day. Not really seen him involved that much. Kai Havertz comes on for him. He'll probably lead the Arsenal line. And finally, you're going to see Jorginho come off, and you're going to see Thomas Partey come on. And I presume Thomas Partey, rather than going into defence, is going to go into midfield. So some fresh legs there, both defensively, in midfield, and in attack from Arsenal as well. Allowed 1 more substitution. Manchester City allowed 2 with 50 minutes remaining here at the Emirates. 0-0. Not being a classic. It's all about grinding. Ederson then with goal kick. Takes it short to Nathan Ake. Gives it back to Ederson. Here is Ruben Dias. Walker finds Phil Foden. Not the best of passes from Foden to Matheus Nunes and intercepted by Arsenal. Too heavy of a pass that from Foden. Could be costly here. Gabriel Jesus gives it to Martin Odegaard. Thomas Partey. Arsenal just slowing it down so our City can get the players back into position. Gabriel Jesus on the right wing. Got Doku and Gvardiol for company. Gives it to Ben White. Odegaard towards Gabriel Jesus. Tries to take on Josko Gvardiol and keeps it in as well, to be fair to him. But Manchester City will come away with the ball as Jeremy Doku's got hold of the ball and given away. And Arsenal surround him out and can come back and think about another wave of an attack. And that's good work from Jeremy Doku going up against Martin Odegaard. But that will be a corner to Arsenal. 14 minutes remaining. Arsenal fans encouraged. A game that's not offered really that much for them. Is set pieces the way to go? Odegaard to take. Gabriel's forward. Saliba's forward. Havertz is there. Declan Rice is in there. More physicality in their midfield and more height so they can get an extra player forward. Jesus is in there. Ben White's in there. Partey, Martinelli on the edge of the penalty area. Cross comes in. Headed clear by Manchester City. Jeremy Doku gets his head onto it. Thomas Partey works it to Declan Rice. Back to Odegaard. Back to Declan Rice. And that's good defensive work from Jeremy Doku. Really good work. And he can actually think about coming in himself forward. And that will go out to play for a throw into Arsenal. Doku felt like he was fouled and should have been a free kick there. Referee says throw in, which Ben White's going to take. Game's just started to get a bit feisty again, but it's going back into that scrappy period once more. Here is Saliba. Gives it to Thomas Partey. A lovely dink over to Ben White. Gabriel Jesus. A heavier touch from him means he's forced backwards here. And we'll work it to the left-hand side instead. And Gabriel will give it to Martinelli up against Phil Foden. Tomiyasu now gives it to Gabriel once more. Here's Declan Rice. Martinelli receives the ball. Back to Declan Rice. City have everybody camped back here. Saliba to Thomas Partey. Here's Declan Rice. Tomiyasu now. Back to Martinelli. He's going to go for the ball into the box. And that's touched the arm of Gabriel Jesus. Not given. Anyway, it's not costly for City because they're going to come away with the ball, and that'll be a free kick. Jesus unhappy with that. Wangs his finger. No, he says to the referee. Here's Ederson. Finds Matheus Nunes. Good turn from Matheus Nunes. Nunes once more. Gives it to John Stones. Ederson. Too much on it. Too much on it. Right, guys, I just need to change the battery in my camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to switch the camera across. It'll drop in quality for a minute while I just change the battery over, and then I'll put it back in again. So just give me 1 second to do that. There we go. I told you the quality will drop. I'll just switch the batteries around, and then I'll change it back over. In the meantime, we see a bird fly across the camera, and Manchester City win it back. Here's Matheus Nunes now. Just plays a sensible pass back for Manchester City. Here's John Stones. City just taking the time. You just get a feeling City are happy here with the point, really. That's what you get the feeling of here, in my opinion. Here's Matheus Nunes now back to Ruben Dias, back to Matheus Nunes once more. All right, battery switched over, so I'll just put my camera back into position. And that's a good challenge from Arsenal. There we go, changed over successfully. And City just growing back into this game. And pop that battery on charge. Done! A successful changing of batteries during streams. How we do it? As we're nearly on 50 likes now, which is halfway to my 100 like goal. Looking a bit unrealistic at the moment, but you never know. So any help towards that'd be great. Here is Phil Foden. Lovely challenge from Gabriel Jesus and lovely recovery challenge from Phil Foden. Lovely recovery challenge. Here's Bernardo Silva now. Gives it to Matheus Nunes. Kyle Walker back to Matheus Nunes once more. 8 minutes to play here. Nothing to call between these two teams. It's been a game of very few opportunities. Very few. Ake then gives it to Josko Gvardiol. Ake once more to Ruben Dias. Kyle Walker tries to play it into the channel for Haaland, and that's come off the defender, and he's not managed to keep it in. And Manchester City can have a throw in. Mikel Arteta showing applause and encouragement there for Arsenal. Less than 8 minutes now into the 83rd minute. 0-0 here at the Emirates Stadium. Throw in for City. Kyle Walker throws it long. Haaland can get it under control to Foden, and that will be a corner, I think. No, giving us a goal kick. Looked like a corner, that to me. Man City with just 4 shots in this game. 1 on target. Arsenal with 11 shots, 1 on target. City not been at their creative best. Nowhere near our best performance, but at this part of the season, playing a team, a rival, a team that's probably going to be up there come the end of the season away from home, you don't want to be giving them 3 points. You want to be coming away with something. So a point here isn't a bad result. Isn't a bad result at all, in my opinion. That's defended well by City. That'll be a throw into Arsenal. Long ball came forward from Raya. Gvardiol beats Jesus in the air and just heads it out of play sensibly for a throw-in. Arsenal wanted a free kick, but never in a million years is that a free kick. Here's Gabriel Jesus now. Ben White. Jesus. Odegaard gives it to Jesus. Jesus has had a really good game for Arsenal on that right wing, I think. And we're getting towards my man of the match time. I mean, Nathan Ake's had a good game for City today. A good recovery game after not playing his best against Wolves last weekend. Kyle Walker's not put a foot wrong. Long throw comes in. Havertz takes the touch, and Odegaard's got this under control. Jesus shows good feet, and City can scramble that one clear. Jesus told to get up. Nothing in that one. Referee says stop while he lets VAR just have a quick look at it to make sure that his decision that he made is correct. My instinct is that it is correct because there's just not much in it. That's a really good tackle from Nathan Ake. Really good tackle. So, yeah, no penalty. Play on. Excellent from Nathan Ake. 5 minutes then to go here at the Emirates. Can we find a winner? Is there a winner in this game? I think we're in a situation where it's next goal wins. Sent long by Raya. Too much on it. Throwing Manchester City. Arsenal fans trying to encourage the team. Arteta trying to animate the fans, get involved. A big push here. I don't think Arsenal will be too disappointed with a draw against champions Manchester City. And I don't think Man City are going to be too disappointed to come away from the Emirates with a point as well. Remember, Saka missing for Arsenal, De Bruyne, Rodri missing for Manchester City. Both teams happy if we're to have a marathon to either take it to the Etihad or do this against other teams rather than against each other, just cancelling each other out. But the job isn't done. Still a bit to win the game. We have a job to be done. Ben White gives it to Thomas Partey. Partey, good dink down the middle, headed across. Havertz can't get it under control. Martinelli, and it's a deflection off Ake and in. A game of very few chances. And City have been stung in the 87th minute. We've just been defending for too much. Creating absolutely nothing. You go up against a decent team like Arsenal, and if you've not put your opportunities away, we go back to that opportunity in the second minute, the third minute not put away. Fine margins. It was nearly so well managed here by Manchester City. It's an absolute disaster. One pump forward. Right down the middle, not dealt with by City, and it's just a potluck shot. Tomiyasu wins the header. They look like they've done enough on Havertz, so he just lays it off for Martinelli and it just hits the head of Ake. Ederson has that one covered. It's the deflection that takes the goal. Wrong foot's Ederson, so it can't be made. That's just it. You have a shot. You don't know what's going to happen. I feel sorry for Ake because Ake's had a good game. What are City made of? What can they do? Great feat by Foden. And that'll be a free kick. Referee, no? Ben White then. Gets it through the legs of Doku. Partey. Arsenal know to just keep control of the ball and keep the heads. They can grind this one out. Raya then sends it long. Dealt with by Ruben Dias. Only as far as Declan Rice. 1 minute remaining plus whatever's to be added on. And City need the ball. Gabriel goes back to David Raya. And this looks like it's going to be back-to-back defeats in the Premier League for City. Which, quite frankly, is not good enough. Quite frankly, isn't good enough. Difficult match against Brighton at home to come after the international break. The harsh reality is it's a long stretch of the season, but this not brilliant from City. And City just struggling to get the ball off Arsenal. Arsenal have had this ball for well over a minute now. City just aren't doing enough. Raya sends it long. It's a good ball as well. Straight to Jesus, so they keep the hold of the ball here. Arsenal just playing with confidence and dictating this, and finally given away by Arsenal, and City nearly give it away themselves. Doku does well, and he's given away. Just 4 minutes added on here then. Nearly 5 years since City lost consecutive Premier League games. First time Arteta will beat Manchester City if they can hold on. That's not a good ball from Raya, though, and should be mopped up by Kyle Walker. He'll work it back to Ederson, and this is where Arsenal now will start to sit deep. They have to sit deep. City created nothing in this second half, created very little in the whole game. It's been a disappointing display. It finishes 0-0. I say great, fabulous, but it isn't. And that's the fine margin from what's a good result becomes a really bad result. Here's Doku to Josko Gvardiol. That's just a bad pass from Gvardiol. I'm going to repeat what I've said 3 times on this stream. Gvardiol's just not had a very good game here for Manchester City. Raya sends it long. Gvardiol wins it in the air. Push on Doku. City want the free kick. Not given. Ake just heads it out of play for a throw-in. City have got no grip. City don't know how to break Arsenal down. They don't know what they're doing. Long throw comes in. Headed clear by City. Jesus finds Kai Havertz. Arsenal now just looking to try and take this to the corner flag. Gvardiol, don't let him in towards the corner flag. Doku does well, really well. And that'll be a free kick to Manchester City. Ederson just goes right through the back of Gabriel Jesus there after the whistle's already gone. Ederson's going to go in the book for the challenge. A couple of yellow cards. I think Jesus for time wasting is given a yellow card as well. Sent long by City, so a minute plus probably another minute to be added on top of that. Haaland takes the touch. Arsenal can't get it clear. Ake's gone forward, whacked clear and out for a throw into Manchester City. Gvardiol then gives it to Kyle Walker. Back to Ederson. He just launches this one long. That's just too long and straight to David Raya. And he'll pick that ball up now. Still another minute. There should be another minute added on here anyway. Mikel Arteta, I don't think he's the worst official out there. He'll add that on. But time running out here for Manchester City. Sent long, headed clear by City. I think my one criticism I'd have for Arsenal is they've not really kept this ball on the ground. And Arsenal's going to get themselves a throw-in deep inside City territory. And the referee blows the final whistle. And Arsenal have beaten Manchester City here at the Emirates Stadium by 1-0. It's a deflected effort from Martinelli. Enough on the 87th minute to wrap up the 3 points. A big 3 points for Arsenal. Manchester City just not at the races. First time in nearly 5 years. Manchester City have back-to-back defeats in the Premier League. And Manchester City, for the first time in a long time, takes defeat at the Emirates Stadium. And how important could them 3 points be for Arsenal come the end of the season? I made a big point in the build-up to this game that Manchester City and how important it was for us winning the Premier League last season in picking up them important 6 points against Arsenal. I'm expecting Arsenal to be right up there at the end of the season. So games played against each other could be pivotal. 6 pointers, both home and away. Man City don't pick up 3 points this week and Arsenal do pick up the 3 points, there's the 6-point difference. Man City go out and win this game. Arsenal, the season in bother. I asked the question of Arsenal. They've just tasted defeat for the first time midweek against Lyon. They come and respond here against Manchester City. City just not having De Bruyne, not having Rodri. Seemed happy for the 0-0. They seemed happy for the point. They weren't creating anything. They weren't doing anything. They didn't really look like they were going to concede. It was going to take a set piece. It was going to take something lucky to happen to break down either team. And when you're relying on luck, it's a flip of a coin. Sometimes it falls your way. Sometimes it doesn't. Doesn't fall to Manchester City's way this time. They've got to pick themselves up. They've got an international break. They've got 2 weeks to think about this disappointing result. Back-to-back Premier League defeats. And they need to go out there and think about it coming back after the international break. Big games coming up against Brighton, against Manchester United, against Chelsea as well during the next 6 weeks or so. These are must-win games now. Must-win games. There's no margin for error. Normally, you want to win the Premier League, 4 to 6 defeats you can afford in the season. We've already had 2, and it's only just the beginning of October, and one of them defeats against a potential title rival. It means when we face them at the Etihad, we have to beat them. It means when we face Liverpool at the end of November, we've got to beat them. It means when we face the likes of Tottenham Hotspur, going to Spurs Stadium, you need to be doing something. City, Haaland, something's been said. He's getting frustrated about something. City just need to get themselves down the tunnel. Kyle Walker having a pop at somebody at Arsenal. I don't know who it is, getting riled up. City just need to walk away. It's a shame that City didn't show this fighting spirit, aggression, and what was needed on the pitch to go out there and do something about it. They haven't. And they've been punished for it. It's not a fact, but to me it's a fact, for my opinion. I just don't think Man City they've not got that experience this season as what we had last season, and I just don't think this season we are as good. I think we're the best team in the Premier League. I think we're good enough to win the Premier League, but factually looking at it, I just don't think Man City are as good as what we were last season, which means the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs start to play catch-up, and that catch-up will happen. It's disappointing, really disappointing defeat for Manchester City. I'm not that disappointed to have lost the game because it's always going to be difficult. Yeah, they didn't have Saka. Yeah, it's disappointing. I'm more disappointed for how Man City have played. Let me get the stats up so I can explain what I mean, because it's just not very good from Manchester City today. Borderline unforgivable for a big game for how we've played, in my opinion. Borderline unforgivable. Really not good enough. 49 to 51% possession. I said in the first half, stats were very close. Not really that close second half. 12 shots, 2 on target. Not really on top Arsenal, but 4 shots, 1 on target. City went behind. We had 6-7 minutes to do something about it and did nothing. Not one shot. Really poor from Manchester City. Really poor. And this game's been decided on luck. Arsenal were there for the taking. We missed a big opportunity 2 minutes and 3 minutes in from Gvardiol and Ake. I remember somebody commenting saying that could be absolutely crucial come the end of the season. Nail on the head. Absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. Really disappointing that from Manchester City. I was disappointed last weekend. We didn't respond again this weekend against Arsenal. It's 2 really poor results in the Premier League. We've got a massive game coming up now against Brighton. Fact is, we trail Arsenal now by 3 points. We trail Tottenham Hotspur by 3 points. There's no margin for error now coming up. Let's just have a look at City's fixtures. We've got coming up big games. Brighton. I'm not that fussed about the Champions League because we're already in a strong position. So these matches against young boys, I mean, ideally we want to be qualifying ASAP, but if there's any match out there that doesn't hold that much meaning to City, as long as we pick up 4 points against young boys, it's job done. I certainly expect a home victory against them. So away from home, but Brighton at home, Man United away, next couple of Premier League matches, they're huge matches. Brighton are no mugs, decent team. Manchester United away, they're going to be well up for it. 2 very difficult games for Manchester City. Very difficult. Bournemouth at home, Chelsea away from home, 4 massive Premier League games, 3 of them, in my opinion, very difficult. So poor from Manchester City, I think. Really poor from City. I'm really disappointed. Mixed, not happy. So poor from Manchester City. I agree. I think spot on. We just got to regroup. We've got a couple of weeks now. Relax, enjoy, have a break. Don't think about football. Social media is going to be poisonous. It's going to be disastrous again. Just we're in a little bit of a rut. We're in a little bit of a rut. Season's long. Stay positive. There's plenty still for City to think about. Season's not over. It's not all doom and gloom. We know Manchester City finish seasons better than they start them. It's all about staying within touching distance, but I'm not going to sugarcoat this. It's a poor result. It's a result we didn't need. This, to me, is more disappointing than last week's result because losing against Wolves away from home holds no real meaning for Manchester City. It doesn't impact us in any way. Sitting 2 points behind Arsenal does impact us. Really poor from Manchester City. Really poor. Mixed it says North End-esque kind of run. And the problem is that Man City didn't know how to win today. They didn't look like they wanted to win, and that's what's most disappointing. Arsenal without Bukayo Saka, no real link-up play in that first half. Arsenal didn't play particularly well, and they still managed to come away with 3 points. Spike, I think, was a really good summary. Weak today, and in general, we're a weaker team than what we were last season. And that's disappointing for Manchester City. Really disappointing. Chibs as well, not very happy. Right, I'm going to end it there so I can do my match review for you guys to look forward to. I'll digest this result a little bit more and show what it means for Manchester City and for everybody else as well. But yeah, not great from City. Not great at all. Just do want to say thank you very much for everybody for tuning in. Much appreciated. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Social media links and everything in the description. And I'll see you all again real soon. Thanks for watching. Hope everyone is safe and well. Peace. Ciao for now.